You know how sometimes life feels like it's stuck on repeat? Same patterns, same emotions, same energy showing up no matter how much you try to change your circumstances. The truth is, energy doesn't shift because of what happens around you. It shifts because of what happens within you. Small improvements, done with awareness, can quietly rearrange your entire frequency. Walk more. It sounds almost too ordinary to change anything, right? Yet that's exactly where the shift begins, in the ordinary. Movement is medicine, not just for your body but for your mind, your energy, your creativity. When you walk, you reconnect to the rhythm of the earth. Every step reminds you that you're still moving forward, no matter how stagnant life might seem. It's a quiet kind of healing, one that doesn't demand effort or discipline, just presence. The simple act of walking every day clears stagnant energy from your system. Ideas flow, your mood lifts, your mind untangles itself. You begin to feel lighter, not just physically but spiritually too. And then there's silence. You'd be surprised how much noise your mind depends on. Music, podcasts, background chatter. It's all filler, a way to escape the discomfort of being alone with your thoughts. But silence is not empty. It's full of answers. When you remove the constant noise, you give your mind a chance to rest and realign. The first few times will feel strange, even boring. But once you get used to the stillness, it becomes addictive in the best way. You start to feel your own thoughts again. You start to notice beauty in things that never seemed to matter before. The sound of your footsteps, the wind brushing against your face, the natural rhythm of life unfolding without interference. That's energy shifting. That's awareness deepening. Your mind is always shaping your world, whether you realize it or not. So what happens when your environment becomes quieter, your movements more intentional, and your focus sharper? Your energy begins to flow instead of scatter. Imagine a pond. When the surface is disturbed, it's hard to see your reflection. But when the water is still, you can see yourself clearly. That's what silence and movement do. They still the waters of your inner world. And from that stillness, your creativity awakens. You start to connect dots effortlessly, solve problems intuitively, and see opportunities where there used to be obstacles. Then there's the humble pen and paper, the oldest, simplest tools for creation. Writing things down by hand may seem outdated in the digital age, but it carries a quiet power most people overlook. When you write, you translate invisible thoughts into physical form. You give shape to energy. Goals become more than ideas. They become commitments. And something strange happens when your words meet the page. They start rearranging your reality. You begin to attract situations that align with what you've written, not through magic, but through clarity. Your subconscious starts working with you instead of against you. All these little things, walking, silence, writing, they're not random habits. They're recalibration rituals. They return you to your natural frequency, the one buried under years of noise, distraction, and rush. When you start doing them consistently, your energy begins to move differently. You're more grounded, more focused, more alive. You no longer chase balance, you become it. That's the beauty of simplicity. It doesn't scream for attention, but it quietly transforms everything it touches. There's a moment everyone reaches, when you suddenly realize time isn't something you have, it's something you spend. Every hour you trade for distraction or worry is an exchange of energy, not just minutes. And once that clicks, you stop viewing your schedule as a list of tasks and start seeing it as a reflection of your inner state. The way you use your time mirrors the way your energy flows. Spend it scattered, and you'll feel drained. Spend it with intention, and life begins to respond differently. Energy moves where your attention goes, and attention is the most expensive currency you own. Most people underestimate how subtle energy leaks destroy their quality of life. Saying yes to things that don't excite you, forcing yourself into routines that don't match your natural rhythm, it all chips away at your vitality. You've probably felt it before, waking up early because successful people do, but feeling like your soul is still asleep. or working late because it looks productive, when in reality, you're just running on fumes. The truth is, your energy peaks at specific times, and learning when that happens is one of the greatest life upgrades you can make. Once you align your work, rest, and movement with your body's rhythm, everything flows smoother. You get more done with less effort, and your energy no longer fights against time. It moves with it. And here's where awareness deepens. Every decision you make carries a cost. If your day were worth $1,000, would you still spend it mindlessly scrolling? Would you still give your best hours to things that don't matter? Imagine breaking your time down into minutes that each hold value. Suddenly, small moments, morning routines, silent walks, even 5-minute breaks feel sacred. When you realize how valuable your time truly is, laziness starts feeling expensive and focus feels like freedom. You stop overworking for the sake of proving your worth and start working from clarity and purpose. But there's another layer most people overlook: the gratitude for the time you already have. Everyone's chasing more hours, but few realize how many they waste wishing for a different moment. Think about it. One day, you'd give anything to relive this exact second: the sound of your child laughing, the hum of the city outside your window, even the people who occasionally drive you crazy. These are the raw materials of a meaningful life, and they're fleeting. Gratitude expands energy. It multiplies what you have. When you start cherishing what's here, time stops feeling like it's slipping away. It starts feeling like it's opening up. So when you think about improving your life, don't just focus on routines or goals. Focus on how you're spending yourself. Your time is your vibration in motion. How you choose to use it will either drain your energy or amplify it. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. When you begin to treat each moment like a sacred investment, your energy shifts from surviving to thriving. You stop chasing balance and start creating it. Time no longer feels like something you're losing. It becomes something you're living, fully, consciously, and beautifully. Here's a truth that quietly separates those who evolve from those who stay stuck. If you want a life that feels extraordinary, you can't live like everyone else. Most people follow the path that's been laid out for them: study, work, buy, repeat. They let the current of society carry them without ever questioning where it's going. But when you decide to step out of that current, something shifts inside you. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. The crowd will call you unrealistic or strange. But freedom has always belonged to those willing to look foolish in the beginning. Living opposite the crowd doesn't mean rebelling just to prove a point. It means breaking the spell of unconscious living. You start noticing how the mainstream glorifies consumption, distraction, and comfort, all while disguising them as happiness. Everyone's running in circles trying to outdo each other in misery. More work, more stuff, more validation. But real energy, the kind that fills your life with vitality and depth, comes from subtraction, not addition. When others waste hours scrolling, you study. When they complain, you build. When they numb their pain with noise, you face it and grow stronger. The crowd runs from discomfort. You learn to find wisdom inside it. There's a strange kind of peace that comes from walking your own path. Suddenly, the noise that once dictated your choices starts to fade. You realize that normal was never the goal. It was the trap. Doing what everyone else does may keep you comfortable, but it keeps you small. And small energy can't sustain big dreams. Every time you choose differently, whether that's eating clean when others indulge, investing instead of spending, reading when others scroll, you send a signal to the universe that you're ready for more. That signal doesn't just attract new opportunities, it reshapes your inner frequency. You start resonating with people and experiences that match your higher standard. Reading becomes one of your greatest allies in this process. Books are more than words on paper. They're bridges between worlds. They hold the distilled wisdom of every human who's ever searched for meaning, every mind that's dared to question. Reading reconnects you to that lineage of seekers. It sharpens your focus, stretches your imagination, and gives you language for thoughts you couldn't yet articulate. The right book can shift your energy faster than months of mindless content ever could. It's like feeding your soul the nutrients it's been starved of. And as you expand your understanding, you learn how to communicate differently. You stop trying to sound smart and start trying to be understood. Most people operate at the level of emotion, not logic, so when you learn to meet them where they are, you gain influence without manipulation. You can speak in a way that uplifts rather than divides, that inspires instead of impresses. That's the real art of living opposite the crowd, not isolating yourself from it, but learning how to rise above it while still reaching back to help others see more clearly. Because when your energy changes, you don't just change your own life, you become a quiet invitation for others to do the same. You can't shift your energy if you're constantly plugged into chaos. Modern life is designed to keep you wired, anxious, and endlessly reachable. Notifications, emails, breaking news, DMs. It's like your nervous system is under constant attack and you've started to mistake it for normal. But it's not normal to live on high alert. It's not normal to wake up and instantly scroll through the world before you've even connected with yourself. When you unplug, even for a day, you start to realize how much noise you've been carrying that isn't even yours. The silence might feel heavy at first, but what feels like emptiness is actually space, and space is what your energy has been begging for. Disconnecting doesn't mean isolation, it means recalibration. Think of it like clearing the static from a radio so you can tune back into your own frequency. When you take 24 or 48 hours away from your phone, your mind begins to detox. The constant pull to respond, to perform, to consume, it fades. What's left is you, just you, raw and unfiltered. At first you'll notice how restless your hands feel, how quickly your brain searches for stimulation. But once the withdrawal passes, a wave of peace begins to rise. Your creativity wakes up. Ideas appear without force. Even your breathing slows down. You start to remember what it feels like to be a human being, not a digital echo. And while you're unplugged, something deeper happens. Your emotions start to surface. Most people suppress how they feel because it's inconvenient, or because they're afraid of what might come up if they slow down long enough to listen. But your emotions aren't your enemies. They're energy trying to move through you. When you block them, that energy stagnates, creating heaviness, fatigue, even depression. Expression is how you set it free. Talk, write, move, cry, create. Whatever helps the energy flow again. Because once it does, you stop carrying emotional baggage in your body, and that instantly lightens your frequency. You don't just feel better, you feel clearer. And then there's stress, everyone's silent saboteur. It's not about eliminating it, it's about mastering it. Your stress response is like a fire alarm. It's supposed to warn you, not run your life. But if it's constantly blaring, you'll never hear your intuition. That's why you need a stress protocol, your personal reset button. Maybe it's deep breathing, maybe a power nap, maybe a walk outside or a cold shower. The method doesn't matter as much as the intention, to remind your system that you're safe. Once your body feels safe, your energy expands. You become more magnetic, more present, more capable of handling what life throws your way without being thrown off balance. Minimalism isn't just about having fewer things. It's about reducing energetic clutter. Every object, every obligation, every thought takes up space. When you minimize, you make room for what actually matters. The clearer your environment, the calmer your mind. And when your mind is calm, your energy naturally rises to meet that stillness. That's how you return to center. Not through grand spiritual awakenings or extreme discipline, but through everyday choices to unplug, to feel, to breathe, to simplify. It's a homecoming, a quiet reminder that peace isn't something you find, it's something you create by making room for it. Curiosity is the spark that keeps your soul from going dim. It's the quiet pull that makes you ask, what else is possible? And without it, life turns dull, repetitive, mechanical. You've probably seen it happen. People stop questioning, stop exploring, stop dreaming. They get comfortable, and comfort slowly turns into confinement. Protecting your curiosity means protecting your aliveness. It's what keeps your energy expanding instead of collapsing into routine. When you follow what genuinely fascinates you, whether it's a random topic, a new skill, or an idea that makes no logical sense, you feed the part of you that's closest to the divine. The world, though, is built to numb that instinct. From childhood, you're told to sit still, follow the rules, fit in, and stop asking too many questions. You're rewarded for memorizing, not for wondering. And by adulthood, most people have traded curiosity for certainty. But curiosity is sacred rebellion. It's how you escape the hypnosis of a predictable life. Every time you choose to explore something new, instead of repeating what you know, you shift your energy toward growth. You start living in possibility again, not limitation, and that's what keeps your inner world alive and electric. But curiosity can't survive in toxic soil. You can't stay curious if your environment constantly drains you. If you're surrounded by people who mock your interests, a job that kills your imagination, or spaces that feel lifeless, your spark starts to fade. So protect it. Be ruthless about what and who gets access to your attention. You don't have to cut everyone off. Just create distance between your energy and anything that dulls your wonder. When you surround yourself with people who are passionate, questioning, and alive, your own curiosity begins to bloom again. It's contagious. And part of keeping that spark alive is disconnecting from the illusion of success that social media feeds you. Those luxury accounts, lifestyle influencers, and old money pages aren't motivating you. They're programming you to compare. They make you believe you're behind, like your joy is waiting at some imaginary finish line. But the more you compare, the more your energy fractures. Real success isn't measured by how impressive your life looks. It's measured by how inspired it feels. Shift your focus from external admiration to internal alignment, and you'll find that your drive naturally returns. You stop chasing and start creating. Eventually, when curiosity and patience meet, abundance follows. Once you understand how to create, build, and earn from a place of alignment, money stops being the goal. It becomes a byproduct. You learn that consistency, not chaos, is what sustains your energy. Doing the small, sometimes boring things over and over again with awareness, that's mastery. And through that mastery comes peace. Because you realize that life isn't about working until you can finally rest. It's about learning to live in a way where every day already feels like freedom. Retirement isn't an age, it's a vibration. And when your curiosity stays alive, you never retire from life itself. You just keep expanding, exploring, and evolving into higher and higher states of being. In conclusion, energy doesn't shift overnight. It happens quietly, through choices that seem too simple to matter. Walking more, being still, writing, sleeping deeply, speaking honestly, and protecting what makes you feel alive. These aren't just habits. They're sacred acts of self-respect. You don't have to reinvent your life. You just have to start honoring it. When you move with intention, the universe meets you halfway. When you stop rushing, life stops running from you. Shift your energy, and everything else follows. Peace, abundance, clarity, all of it. So take the first step today, even if it's just walking outside without your phone. Your new frequency is already waiting for you to meet it halfway.